Focus is the difference between dreamers and achievers. Everyone dreams. Everyone wants something more out of life. Success, recognition, peace, freedom, or fulfillment. But dreaming alone doesn't change anything. It doesn't matter how big your dreams are if your focus is weak. The world is full of dreamers who talk about what they're going to do someday, but only a few ever make that someday today. The truth is, dreamers imagine possibilities, but achievers lock in on one vision and give it everything they've got. But focus is the bridge between what you imagine and what you manifest. Without it, dreams stay in your head. Where did they become real? Think about it. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary people isn't intelligence or talent. It's focus. You can have all the potential in the world, but if you scatter your energy across too many things, you'll never master any of them. The person who focuses on one goal, one mission, one purpose with unwavering attention will always outperform the person who chases 10 different dreams at once. You can't build an empire when you're busy trying to build 10 small houses at the same time. You have to decide which dream deserves your energy, and then you got to commit to it with everything inside you. The reason so many people fail isn't because they're not capable. It's because they lose sight of what matters. They start with excitement, they talk about success, they plan and post about their dreams, but then distractions come, friends, entertainment, social media, temporary comfort, and they lose their focus. Every time you lose focus, you lose time. And time is the one thing you can never get back. You can rebuild money, you can rebuild reputation, but you can never rebuild wasted time. That's why focus is power. It's how you protect your time, your energy, and your purpose from things that don't serve you. When you look at the greatest achievers in any field, they all have one thing in common: tunnel vision. They lock onto their goals so tightly that nothing else exists. They say no to distractions, no to comfort, no to anything that takes them away from the mission. Michael Jordan wasn't the most gifted player when he started. He became the greatest because he focused relentlessly on improvement. Steve Jobs wasn't the best programmer, but he was obsessed with creating something revolutionary. Eric Thomas didn't become one of the best speakers in the world by luck. He focused on his craft when no one believed in him, when no one was listening. Focus is the secret ingredient behind every success story you admire. But focus isn't just about attention, it's about discipline. It's about training your mind to stay on track when everything around you tries to pull you off it. It's easy to be focused when things are going well, when the motivation is fresh, when people are cheering for you. But real focus shows up when no one's clapping, when it's boring, when progress feels invisible. That's when achievers separate themselves from dreamers. They keep going, they stay locked in even when the excitement fades. They don't need motivation every day because their focus has turned into a habit. You've got to understand that distractions are everywhere. They'll come disguised as opportunities, entertainment, or comfort. You'll be tempted to chase multiple goals at once, thinking you can handle them all. But divided attention leads to divided results. You can't give 100% to something when your energy is split 10 different ways. You need to learn how to protect your focus like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. When your mind is scattered, your results will always be scattered. But when your mind is centered, your results will multiply. One clear direction beats 1,000 random steps. Focus also demands sacrifice. You can't have focus without letting go of something else. You might have to sacrifice your comfort, your free time, your social life, or your habits that keep you average. Achievers understand that focus is expensive. You have to pay the price with discipline, with patience, and with consistency. But the reward is worth it. Because once you truly focus, once you give all your energy to one purpose, you become unstoppable. You start seeing progress faster. You start building momentum. You stop chasing and start creating. And that's when everything changes. When you go from dreaming about success to actually living in. If you ever feel stuck, ask yourself where your focus is. Where you giving your energy to every day? Because whatever gets your attention grows. If your focus is on fear, your fear grows. If your focus is on excuses, your excuse grows. But if your focus is on progress, discipline, and execution, your success grows. That's the simple but powerful truth. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to stay focused long enough for your actions to create results. The moment you do, your confidence grows. Distractions are dream killers. Eliminate them ruthlessly. Every single day, life throws distractions at you, testing how bad you really want to reach your goals. The world is loud, full of noise, temptations, and comfort that constantly pull your focus away from what truly matters. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they let distractions drain their attention, their time, and their energy. The people who succeed aren't necessarily the smartest or most talented, but they are the most focused. They've learned how to say no even when it hurts. They've learned how to protect their vision like their life depends on it, because it does. Every time you give into a distraction, you're choosing comfort over purpose. You're making a small decision that seems harmless in the moment, but adds up over time. One more scroll on social media, one more episode, one more conversation that has no value. Each one steals a little piece of your future. Distractions are sneaky because they feel good. They give you a temporary hit, a pleasure, but they rob you of long-term fulfillment. The people who achieve greatness understand this, and that's why they live differently. They are ruthless about what gets their attention. They know their time is the most valuable currency they have, and they refuse to waste it on things that don't move them forward. Sure, you can't build a life of purpose while being surrounded by noise. You have to separate yourself. You have to create space where you can think clearly, where your mind is quiet enough to hear your own vision. That might mean cutting off certain habits, people, or environments that distract you. Not because you're better than anyone else, but because you're trying to build something bigger. You can't focus on your goals when you're constantly comparing yourself to everyone else. You can't chase your dreams when you're drowning in distractions that don't align with your purpose. Every time you get pulled off track, you lose momentum, and momentum is everything. Think about it like this. Distractions are weeds in the garden of your dreams. You can plant the right seeds. You can water them every day, but if you don't pull out the weeds, they'll choke your growth. The weeds might not look dangerous at first, but they spread quickly. Before you know it, they've taken over. That's how distractions work. They don't destroy your dream in a day. They do it slowly, quietly, one small compromise at a time. That's why you have to be intentional about what you allow into your space. You have to guard your focus like a soldier guards a post. Because if you don't, the world will decide for you how to spend your time. And you'll wake up one day realizing you've been busy doing nothing that truly matters. Eliminating distractions isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware. It's about catching yourself before you fall into habits that steal your attention. You don't need to cut out everything at once. Start with one thing. Maybe it's turning off notifications for a few hours. Maybe it's setting boundaries with people who drain your energy. Maybe it's putting your phone away while you work. Every small change adds up. The goal is to build an environment that supports your focus instead of fighting it. Successful people don't rely on willpower alone. They design their surrounding so that focus becomes the default. But here's the truth. Getting rid of distractions is uncomfortable. It's lonely sometimes. Because when you start saying no, people will question you. They'll think you're acting different, too serious, too obsessed. They won't understand why you're skipping parties, ignoring gossip, or spending your nights working instead of hanging out. But that's the price of focus. You can't be available for everyone and still be great. You can't chase validation and chase purpose at the same time. You gotta choose. And once you choose, you have to be ruthless. Every time you say no to a distraction, you're saying yes to your future. Every time you stay focused, you're investing in the version of yourself that's waiting on the other side of discipline. The hardest distractions to cut are the ones that look harmless, the little breaks that turn into hours, the people who mean well but don't share your vision, the opportunities that seem exciting but take you off your main path. That's why you need clarity. When you know exactly what you want, it becomes easier to identify what doesn't belong. When your purpose is strong, your no becomes powerful. You stop chasing everything and you start protecting what matters. Because success doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what matters most without interruption. You've got to train your mind to focus. Just like a muscle, focus gets stronger when you use it. Every time you resist a distraction, you build mental strain. Consistency beats talent when focus is applied daily. Talent can open the door, but consistency keeps you inside the room. Too many people rely on talent alone. They think being gifted is enough to guarantee success. But the truth is, talent fades when it isn't backed by daily discipline. The most talented person in the room isn't always the one who wins. It's the person who shows up every single day, putting in the work even when no one's watching. Consistency builds strength, it builds confidence, and it builds confidence, and it builds mastery. Focus without consistency is wasted potential. But when you combine focus and consistency, you become unstoppable. Everyone starts with excitement. When you first set a goal, motivation is high. You feel inspired, ready to take on the world. But over time, that fire starts to fade. The early mornings get harder, the results take longer, and the process starts to feel repetitive. That's where most people quit. They confuse boredom with failure. Think if it's not exciting anymore, it's not working. But the truth is, consistency is often quiet. It's not about fireworks or excitement. It's about doing the same small things every day with the same energy, even when you don't feel like it. That's how success is built, not through big bursts of talent, but through steady, focused effort. When you're consistent, you're telling yourself that your goal matters more than your mood. You're saying, I'm going to show up whether I feel like it or not. That's where transformation happens. You start to separate yourself from the crowd. The average person only works when they feel inspired. The greats work no matter what. They understand that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. Every day you stay consistent, you're depositing energy into your future success. You might not see it now, but those small deposits add up. Eventually, you'll wake up one day surrounded by the results you've been building brick by brick. Talent gives you potential, but consistency turns potential into reality. You can be the most gifted athlete, artist, speaker, or entrepreneur. But if you're inconsistent, you'll lose to someone with less talent, but more discipline. That's why some of the greatest success stories in the world aren't about being the most gifted, they're about being the most consistent. Kobe Bryant was talented, yes, but what made him legendary was his relentless practice. He was in the gym at 4 a.m. every day. He didn't just rely on skill, he refined it through repetition. The same is true for every champion. They mastered their craft by showing up daily, no matter how they felt, no matter what was going around them. Consistency is also about trust. When you stay consistent, you start to build trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on a promise you made to yourself, you prove that you're reliable, and that builds confidence. You start to believe in your ability to execute. That belief becomes fuel. You don't need external motivation anymore because your own results keep you going. On the other hand, when you break promises to yourself, you weaken your mindset. You start to doubt your own word. That's why being consistent isn't just about success. It's about self-respect. It's about showing yourself that you're capable of keeping your word no matter what. The key to staying consistent is focus. When you focus, you simplify your life. You stop chasing multiple goals at once and commit to one clear direction. When your mind is scattered, your actions are scattered. But when your mind is centered, your energy becomes powerful. Focus keeps you aligned with your purpose, and consistency multiplies your progress. Think of it like a magnifying glass. When you focus sunlight on one point long enough, it creates fire. But if you keep moving the glass, you'll never create enough heat to burn anything. That's how life works. You have to focus and stay consistent long enough to let the fire of your effort ignite results. Consistency also demands patience. Results don't come overnight. Sometimes you'll put in the work for weeks or months without seeing progress. That's when most people give up. They think nothing's happening. But consistency works quietly, building strength under the surface. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not growing. Every rep, every hour, every small act of discipline is building momentum. The day you finally see results is just the day your consistency becomes visible. Success takes time, but time rewards those who stay committed. There will be moments when you feel tired, frustrated, or uncertain. Those moments test your character. That's when you have to remind yourself why you started. Your reason has to be stronger than your feelings. And the ones who win aren't the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who keep moving forward despite the struggle. They fall down, get up every single time, but they get up every single time. Define your purpose and commit fully to it. Most people wander through life without a clear direction. moving from one thing to another, never really understand what they were meant to do. They let circumstances decide their path instead of deciding it themselves. But the truth is, you can't build a meaningful life if you don't know your purpose. You can't hit a target you haven't defined. Your purpose is your internal compass. It gives meaning to the struggle. It gives clarity to your vision, and it gives strength to your actions. Without it, you'll drift wherever life pushes you. With it, you'll move with conviction, no matter how strong the storm gets. Finding your purpose isn't always easy. It takes honesty and self-awareness. You've got to ask yourself some hard questions. What do I care about most? What drives me? What am I willing to suffer for? Purpose isn't about chasing money, fame, or recognition. Those things fade. Purpose is about doing something that makes your life feel significant, something that gives you a reason to get up every morning, even when you're tired. When you discover that, your whole life changes. Every challenge becomes worth it because you know why you're doing it. Every setback becomes a lesson instead of a defeat because your focus isn't on comfort, it's on growth. Once you define your purpose, you have to commit to it completely. Half commitment won't take you far. You can't give 50% effort and expect 100% results. Purpose demands sacrifice. It demands that you prioritize what truly matters and let go of what doesn't. That means cutting out distractions, staying disciplined, and pushing forward even when the road gets tough. Most people give up because they only commit when it's convenient. But the ones who live with purpose stay locked in, even when it hurts. They know that temporary pain is part of long-term growth. They understand that commitment isn't about how you feel. It's about who you are. When you commit to your purpose, you stop living reactively. You stop chasing trends, approval, and temporary highs. You stop living intentionally. Everything you do begins to align with your mission. Your time, your energy, and your focus all get directed toward one clear outcome. You no longer say yes to everything because you understand that every yes costs you time that could have been spent on your purpose. That kind of clarity gives you power. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You move with precision, and every step you take brings you closer to the life you're trying to build. The reason purpose is so powerful is because it gives meaning to your struggles. Life will test you. It will push you to your limits. There will be moments when you question everything, moments when you feel like quitting. But when you have a strong purpose, you can endure almost anything. You understand that the pain is part of the process. You stop seeing obstacles as punishment and start seeing them as preparation. Every challenge becomes fuel. Every failure becomes feedback. Purpose gives you perspective. It keeps you grounded when you succeed and keeps you strong when you fail. Look at the most successful people in the world. The ones who changed lives, built empires, and made history. They didn't do it for fame. They did it because they had a purpose bigger than themselves. They were driven by something deep, something they believed in so strongly that no amount of rejection, criticism, or failure could stop them. When you're clear about your why, your how becomes stronger. You can outlast the pain, the doubt, the loneliness, because you know exactly why you're fighting. People without purpose give up easily because they don't have a reason to keep going. But when you know your purpose, quitting isn't even an option. Committing to your purpose also means trusting the process. You won't see results overnight. You have to work in silence for a long time before anyone notices. You'll have to stay faithful to your vision even when progress feels invisible. But that's the beauty of purpose. It teaches you patience. It teaches you to value the journey, not just the destination. Every step, every lesson, every failure is shaping you into the person capable of living the life you dream of. Don't rush it. Stay committed. Keep your eyes on the bigger picture. Your purpose is what separates you from everyone else. It's the unique fire inside you that nobody else can duplicate. But that fire will go out if you don't feed it with consistency and belief. You can't keep doubting yourself and expect to live your purpose. You've got to speak life into your dreams. You've got to remind yourself daily why you started and what's at stake if you quit. Commitment is about showing up for your purpose even when no one claps, even when no one sees your effort. Because you're not doing it for validation. You're doing it because it's who you are. Don't seek motivation. Build discipline through focus. Motivation feels good, but it's temporary. It's like a spark. It can light a fire, But if you don't have fuel, it dies out. Discipline is the fuel that keeps the fire burning long after motivation fades. Too many people wait for motivation to start. They wait to feel ready, to feel inspired, to feel like working. But the truth is, you're not always going to feel like it. Some days you'll wake up tired, frustrated, or uncertain. Some days you won't have the energy or the excitement. That's when discipline steps in. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who do. It's what keeps you moving forward, even when every part of you wants to stop. Motivation is emotional. It depends on your feeling. Discipline is mental. It depends on your decision. You can't control your emotions all the time, but you can control your actions. When you build discipline, you take control of your life. You stop being a slave to your mood. You stop saying, I'll do it when I feel like it, and start saying, I'll do it because I said I would. That shift changes everything. It builds confidence, consistency, and credibility, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you strengthen your belief that you can rely on yourself. And that belief becomes power. Discipline isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. At first, it's uncomfortable. It's easier to take shortcuts, to give up, to do what feels good instead of what's right. But every time you push through that resistance, you grow. Every time you do what you say you do, even when it's hard, you train your mind to obey your purpose instead of your impulses. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about choosing progress over comfort day after day. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. What once felt impossible starts to feel automatic. The problem with relying on motivation is that it's unpredictable. One day you're inspired and on fire. The next, you're exhausted and unmotivated. If you build your life around motivation, you'll always be inconsistent. You'll start strong and fade fast. That's why people jump from goal to goal, never finishing anything. They're chasing the high of being motivated instead of developing the habit of being disciplined. Discipline doesn't need emotion. It just needs a decision. It's the quiet commitment to show up, no matter what. The best athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders in the world don't succeed because they're always motivated. They succeed because they're disciplined enough to do the work, even when it's boring or hard. Focus plays a huge role in building discipline. You can't be disciplined about everything. You have to choose what matters most. When you focus on one mission, you simplify your choices. You stop wasting energy on things that don't serve your purpose. Focus helps you stay consistent because it eliminates confusion. When your mind knows exactly what it's working toward, your actions follow naturally. The people who lack discipline often lack direction. They don't know what they truly want, so they get distracted easily. But when you're focused, you have clarity, and that clarity fuels your discipline. You know what deserves your effort and what doesn't. You stop chasing distractions and start chasing results. Discipline also teaches you to love the process. Motivation makes you obsessed with the outcome, but discipline makes you fall in love with the grind. When you're disciplined, you understand that every small step counts. You're not chasing instant gratification. You're building something that lasts. You learn to find pride in the repetition, in waking up early, practicing your craft, studying, training, working, and improving little by little. That process becomes part of who you are. You stop needing applause because you find fulfillment in consistency itself. Discipline turns hard work into a lifestyle, not an event. There will be days when it feels like nothing's working. You'll put in the hours and see no progress. You'll question if it's worth it. That's when most people give up because their motivation runs out. But discipline doesn't ask for proof before it acts. Discipline says, keep going anyway. It keeps you moving when the results are invisible because it trusts the process. Success takes time. Results grow in silence before they're seen in public. Discipline gives you the patience to keep watering your seed, even when nothing has sprouted yet. It reminds you that consistency compounds. The more disciplined you are, the more momentum you build. And once that momentum takes off, everything changes. The truth is, discipline requires sacrifice. You'll have to give up comfort.